What did your crush do that made you instantly lose interest in him or her? I wanted to surprise visit him. His mom told me he's in his backyard. I saw him sitting outside. When I got closer, I saw him collecting the ants and then putting them inside his mouth. After that, I left. He dated a string of women that all looked underdeveloped. Like they were adults, but they were markedly shorter and slighter than him, had barely any breasts, and very youthful faces, in addition to being over 10 years younger than him. Once is like, okay. Twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a trend, and it was super gross. Lost my crush and any respect I had for him. I don't really know what happened, but from what I've heard was that she and her friend took photos of a disabled kid's genitals. I learned that she had a kid. The husband was not too big of a deal for me, but the kid was a deal breaker. Texting other women while he's watching my phone and I can't text anyone. They confessed to popping pills and not in a medical way. Telling me they were gay so I wouldn't ask them out made me back off pretty quickly. We were sitting on a bed together talking, and she tucked one foot under her and to one side. She started playing with her toes, peeled something off of them, I think skin, and ate it. All interest just vanished right there. He made fun of my autistic brother. Took a girlfriend to see my sister's horse. Horse nuzzles her. XGF violently whips the horse's face. Nope. Never see her again. Had a huge crush on this boy in high school. One day he invited me and my sister to go over and hang out at a mutual friend's house after school. So we are all just hanging out and we're talking, and he keeps asking me who I'm texting on my phone. I told him I was checking in with my mom, and he literally took the phone from my hand and started looking through all my messages. He said, "I didn't invite you here so you could text other guys." There was no other guy I was texting, and there's just so many red flags in that situation. I never really talked to him again after that. My brother had a friend just after high school that was super hot. He was also really nice to me and had manners when he came over. Flash forward a few years, he's helping my brother and I with a tree removal job. He starts chewing tobacco and spitting it everywhere on this person's property, pees in their bushes, brags about having 5 kids by different women and that he doesn't pay child support, that he was a 5th-year senior dude, ha, ruined it. He was ugly in an instant. He was really smart at one point, had a good job, was on the path to a good place. I don't know what happened, but ooh. He told people he was going to get me pregnant so I'd marry him. I was 15. We never had intercourse. I broke up with him immediately because by that statement, he implied, to our high school friends and acquaintances, that we were having intercourse. She was holding a cat by its tail and spinning it around her at astounding speed. The cat's fine, though, don't worry. Lied about being a Marine and having been shot. Yeah, big no for me, bud. My ex didn't stop for an ambulance to pass us. I knew then he was not a keeper. I finally got to have a deep conversation with him and realized that he was dumb as bricks. He thought that the earth was flat. This was in the late early 2000s. He thought England was a dead empire like ancient Rome. I finally got to have a deep conversation with him and realized that he was dumb as bricks. He thought that the earth was flat. This was in the late early 2000s. He thought England was a dead empire like ancient Rome or the Byzantine Empire. He thought rhinos and horses were related like how dogs and wolves are. He thought that all cultures were divided by race. All black people had the same culture regardless of country. All Asian countries had the same exact culture. All Hispanic countries were the same exact culture, etc. Edit, regarding England, he thought it had collapsed after the Renaissance period, and all that was left were ruins. He thought that England was a large mass of land that connected to Europe during the Renaissance period, and then when it sank or was destroyed, the island that was left is now Great Britain. Went on a date with a guy walking through a park while eating food. Out of the blue, he just yeets his food into a bush like it was a joke. I went out with him again after that, but I knew when he littered that this would never be serious. He ran a 2-way stop sign, blinking red light in a 55 miles per hour zone. The intersection has clear open views for at least a half-mile on both sides, and he claimed he didn't see anyone coming. But a woman with her kids in the car was right there and T-boned him as he ran through. Both cars were totaled. When I picked him up, he kept bragging about how he wouldn't apologize to her because it would be an admission of guilt, saying he knows all about how to handle these kinds of situations, and then said it was her fault because he ran the stop on accident, but she should have stopped once he was in front of her. In a 55 miles per hour zone. It was super creepy and cold-hearted. We went to a club for a night out and she disappeared for a while. I finally found her dancing very provocatively with some other guy. Her excuse was that it was okay, because he was her cousin. We didn't last long after that. Bragging about an unemployment scam, how awesome it was to not have to work or pay for anything like regular people. Lying about something inconsequential, getting found out in less than an hour, and then following it up with blaming me for misunderstanding. I've been around enough manipulative people to know those signs, and it seriously was like a switch flipped and made them dead to me. I dated this girl very briefly, and it was never going to work for a variety of reasons. But the little thing that was a big indication was paying for dinner. Because I'm a guy and society is a thing, I'm generally prepared to pay, but it's 2023 and let's take turns or something. We both worked, but she made slightly more than me. She said whoever asks pays, and okay, that works. But her move then became trying to jujitsu me into asking her. Trying to make plans, but only as long as I asked her. This included a day when I was coming back from a trip and was tired and busy. She bullied me into dinner and then looked at me funny when I didn't immediately reach for the check. When I was in high school, I was flirting with the boy sitting next to me. Then he started going through my purse. I was a little pit off by it, but whatever. But then he started playfully punching me in the arm. But he was punching hard enough for it to hurt and make my arm red. I stopped talking to him after that. He joked that he would hide my bipolar meds to trigger a manic phase so that I would be more adventurous. This would not be okay under any circumstance, but it was made worse by the fact that he was a psychologist. Yes, I reported him, and blocked him. Had a crush on an old roommate who had a boyfriend overseas, so she was doing the long-distance thing. It was a small crush I would never have acted on while they were together. Anyway, she was continuously flirting with me, which I just brushed off. One night she climbed through my window while I was asleep and jumped into my bed. Another night she was drunk and being crazy affectionate. She started kissing my cheek repeatedly but slowly, moving closer to my mouth. So that. This is only the tip of the iceberg. I have a lot more stories involving this girl. A girl in college that took her roommate's goldfish and nailed it to their wall as part of an escalating prank war. She couldn't stop telling people about it despite that absolutely nobody found it funny. I checked out at that point. It's not really anything to do with me, but I strongly urge you to watch for this. After working at Walmart for 7 months now at the front end, cashier self-checkout, I can safely say that the way people handle their groceries tells you a lot about their personalities. So I advise that if you see them walk into the self-checkout and tear a bag off because they didn't take the time to get one open and use it, then tear another and keep tearing, then not throwing them away, to just forget about them. They are a danger to us all. Not only does that show no decency, but it shows that they have no respect and waste a lot. I hate Walmart, but I have learned so much about people that I literally no longer want to be a human.